Hey, hello everyone and welcome to Extreme Graphics Tech. And no, it's no longer the worst name on YouTube. Well, it is, but I'm not going to keep repeating that, okay? So, today I want to talk about the cable gate. You know, this situation that is happening with the RTX 4090 and the connection that is causing some GPUs to catch fire. Because I think we have to see both sides of the story and also understand or try to understand some of the people commenting on this that sometimes I don't understand why people behave in that way. But Angelo, what are you talking about? Oh yes, because my name is Angelo. If I haven't said that, well, recently there have been, I think, 4 cases of people showing that their connector, their PCI Express 5.0 connector, is being melted, or in some cases even catch fire. Okay, and why is this happening and what's the problem? So this is not the PCI Express 5.0 cable. Okay, this is the cable that used to came, the adapter that used to came with this series 3000. As you remember, Nvidia started to use a different cable and they brought an adapter so you could use that cable. This is not the same as the one that is being used right now. It's similar, but it's not the same. Okay, so to begin with, the cable that Nvidia is using right now on the RTX 4000 series is not a cable designed or created by Nvidia. This is created by a standard consortium where Intel is part of, where they said that the new PCI Express 5.0 power supplies needed, like a better GPU connection. So they standardized a sort of this connector in order for the cable to be able to handle up to 600 watts of power, because the cables that are right now, each 8-pin cable can only handle 150 watts, and because GPUs are always more power hungry, they needed to create a new standard. However, if you don't have one of those new fancy power supplies, you need to use an adapter. Okay, so that adapter normally ends up like in something similar to this, and in the case of the RTX 4090, it has 4 of these 8-pin connectors, so you have to connect all of them to get enough power. What is happening right now is that some users have shown that their connector is burned at the actual connection. So the cable and the connector are burned. The plastic is melted in some cases, and some of them say that it even catch fire. Now, there has been many theories going around. One of them is that the cables are being bended like this because obviously, because of the position of the cable, they need to bend it in order to fit inside the case. Okay, so they say that bending this before 35 millimeters or 3.5 centimeters is causing the contacts here to not make good contact with the actual connector. But it seems a little bit far-fetched if you ask me. I don't think that's true, but it could be. However, another theory that is being going around, and this is by Galax, the GPU manufacturer, is that it's not about the bending of the cable, and it's more about the cable not being connected correctly or sitting correctly. What this means is the cable is not fully connected. So when they tested making 1500 watts of electricity going through the cable, and the cable was only at 70 degrees with 1500 watts. Remember, this cable is rated for 600 watts. So it seems that they are really stretching it in order to test the cable, because obviously this is an important thing to test. This is very important because one thing is a point of failure and another thing is a point of fire. If that means it can catch fire at any point, this is very dangerous, and it could take, very big liabilities to all the manufacturers, including Nvidia. So they tested that when it connected correctly, this cable only gets up to 70 degrees with 1500 watts. When it's sitting incorrectly, then it can get up to 100 and over that. And I think that's where the problem resides. And I say that because you see this connector here, this is a good one, but I had another one that melted. And how it melted, even though I was connected only to a 3060 Ti, and it's only like an 8-pin cable, so it's not that big, right? So, well, how did that happen? Well, what happened at the time was that I was testing. I have a test bench, another computer that is open case and everything, where I normally interchange GPUs and start testing them differently. So I'm sure when you hear the power supply, how it melted, you can see that the plastic is gone, because that's the connector from the power supply. I still use it, to be honest. But the cable, the adapter, is completely gone, but not on the actual connection, but here. And why did that happen? Well, what happened is that because I was being lazy and it was annoying to always disconnect and connect it back, I only put it sitting on top. It was receiving electricity, the card was working, fortunately it didn't burn, but it was just sitting, because then it was annoying to take that thing out from here, so I just put it and just connected. So what happened is, because it wasn't sitting correctly, one of the pins started, having to compensate for the other ones that were not connected or doing good contact, and that one got to the point where it got so hot that it melted the cable, which is the same finding that Galaxy seems to be doing. And I'm not trying to say here that the 4 people who has shown that they had troubles are lying or are deceiving or anything like that. However, there being more than 1,000 cards, many thousands of cards being sold, and only so far 4 of them have had troubles. As you know, I have an RTX 4090. I have been having very heavy gaming sessions, and I've been touching the cable after all these things happen, because I don't have a thermal camera, but I've been touching the cable, and I can tell you that the cable is completely cold, the connector is completely cold, and I am touching the cable while playing, because my computer is open, so I go and touch it, and I can feel a thing is completely cold, not even a little bit hot. It's well seated and it's well put, and I haven't paid attention if it's bended or not at all, to be honest. I'm not saying you shouldn't care about bending the cable. If you can avoid bending it close, of course, doing it. But I don't think that's a thing to worry that much. However, what I do want to say, and this is part of the other talk I want to have, is that I don't understand this attitude towards Nvidia sometimes. And don't get me wrong, I know Nvidia is doing a lot of wrong things, but they are companies at the end of the day, and AMD is no better. No matter how, I don't mean Nvidia is better than AMD or AMD is better. I have used in my life CPUs and GPUs for both of them. Well, Nvidia doesn't make CPUs obviously, but what I mean is that I have used AMD CPUs and Intel CPUs. I have a Threadripper, and I'm using an Intel 12600K. I've been using GPUs from both vendors since AMD was ATI. So this is not something new for me, because I normally go to whoever gives me the best value for money or the best performance, depending on what I'm looking at the moment. So I don't care about brands in that sense. I just buy whatever is better for me as a consumer. But what I don't understand is people that, because I think these are bad people. These are honestly bad people, people that want this new to be true and are magnifying the new because they want this to be true. Because if this is true, there is 2 types of people that are going to be happy about this situation. The first type of people is people who hates Nvidia, okay? People who wants to see Nvidia fails for some reason, because it makes no sense to see Nvidia fails. Because to begin with, we need competition. That's why having Intel now in the GPU space is so good for every one of us. So having Nvidia fail doesn't help anyone. What we need is an Nvidia that start, pushing things in a different way, like maybe making better prices, or stop making so crazy products like the 4080, which they changed. They had the 16 and 12 gigabyte version. We need competition, and it's unfair to always treat Nvidia like the bad or the evil one, because remember, Nvidia was the one pushing ray tracing, DLSS, and all this stuff, and the competition is catching on them. Because the competition says that's not important, and then you see the competition doing the exact same. That's the reason we have FSR, the reason we have XeSS, and so on. So Nvidia is pushing things, and nobody was talking about ray tracing before RTX 2000. Nobody was talking about DLS before that, and Nvidia has always been, the company pushing graphics to a new level. Yes, pricing and many other things are very, very we can criticize them, but what I want to make people understand is that we don't win if Nvidia fails. Okay, that's very important. Remember, the company that is on top is always the one that does whatever they want. This is true even for AMD. AMD had never had very good luck with GPU, except for maybe the X1900 series a long time ago, the 7000 series a long time ago, but recently they have not been the top. But however, they've been the top for CPUs, and what's happening is that now the company offering you the best bang for your buck is Intel with the new 30,000 series, while AMD is super expensive, not just because the change of motherboard and RAM, but just the CPUs themselves are much more expensive than Intel. So that shows you that when a company gets on top on certain area, then they are going to dictate the price because they have a fan base following and they want, you know, the more money they can get from them, the better. So that's what's going to happen, and it's always happening. So these are not your friends, none of them. No Intel, no AMD, no Nvidia. They want your money and they are going to milk you for as much as they can. And that's the first people, the ones that want to see Nvidia fail. But the other people is envy, and I'm not talking Nvidia, I'm talking envy. So it's people like, oh, I cannot pay for a 4090. So I feel I don't like people having a 4090. So I want those people to really have a bad product. I want to be sure that their product is going to burn, is going to fail, because I am envy of those guys. I have been people telling me on Twitter, oh, you spend $1,600, $2,000 on a graphic card when you could have spent $500 on an Xbox Series S that performs the same. So yes, it's insane what I'm saying, but I have people telling me that an Xbox Series X performs the same as an RTX 4090, and that I was being stupid by buying an RTX 4090. So when I reply to them telling that I want to play Cyberpunk at 4K 144 FPS with all ray tracing on, they say, oh, that's stupid, I am okay with 1440p 30 FPS, I can see the difference, and so on, because they want to justify or, you know, say to you, you're stupid to buy something I cannot buy. So we have these two people, and I don't understand why people are like that. You know, I am always happy when I see other people being able to buy what they want and what makes them somehow happy. Okay, and I never want to see any company fail. I don't care what company it is, unless it's an evil company. You know what I mean? Like Bank of America or something like that. But even so, if that Bank of America fail, we know what happens. So if Electronic Arts, for example, goes down, what's the benefit for me? You know, it's one less company that is going to be making games. They make a lot of, you know, bad games or, you know, monetized games. I just don't buy those games. But then they make Jedi Fallen Order or the remake of Dead Space, and that's a good, you know, thing to have. So when those games come out, I want to play them and I'm going to buy them. So I don't understand why people want to see company fails when it doesn't benefit us in absolutely any way. So what I'm trying to say here is that this is an important issue. I'm not trying to tell you not to worry or just don't care. I'm just trying to show you that this has been magnified more than it needs to. To begin with, remember, we only have 4 proven cases. Okay, and we don't know the situation. We don't know exactly what was happening. We have companies tested this and they can replicate the problem. And there are being many thousands of cards being sold. So maybe a couple of cables were damaged. Maybe a couple of GPUs were damaged. This happened. I had an Xbox One X die on me just 2 hours after I bought it. I had a PlayStation 5 failing on me the first month I bought it. So at the end of the day, always electronics product will have some, you know, percentage of failures. And yes, when it happens to you, you want to, you know, this stupid thing doesn't work and so on. Yes, it's true. It's nature. It's human nature. I was angry both times because something that I just bought failed like in no time. But well, you know, I have to use warranty, change it, and that was the end of it. I know this is a bigger problem because, you know, we're talking here about the possibility of catching fire, and that's no joke. But I also want to assure people that this is not the big issue that some people are trying to make, okay? And that if you take care of your thing and you check that everything is connected the right way, the point of failure are going to be a lot less than what people is trying to make. Okay, so well, that's my take, at least on it. People will take their own takes on this, and they will give their opinions. Some will agree, some don't. As I said, I don't want any company to fail. I don't want this to be a problem, because to begin with, I can change mine for warranty. If that happens, I have no problems and no worry about that. But many people, you know, they work hard for this, and wishing this to be a real problem doesn't benefit anyone. So let's hope these are just isolated cases that happen because they were either defective or they were badly connected. So that's my take on this, and I hope you like it. And as usual, please subscribe to the channel because it will help me a lot. And like it and watch the videos. Please watch all the videos. It will help me a lot to make my English channel grow. Thank you very much, and see you next time.